The quiet genius of the Knat was being drowned out by the roar of engines. Almost overnight, diesel-powered pumps began replacing Knats in every corner of the globe. In Iran, there were just a few hundred deep wells in the 1950s, but by the 80s, over 70,000 had sprung up. At first, it felt like a revolution. Agriculture boomed as more water was pumped from the ground, leading to higher yields, bigger farms, and cheaper food. But with deeper wells and faster extraction, aquifers couldn't recharge fast enough. We stopped working with nature and started taking from it. And now, we're paying the price.
New research from the British Standards Institution, or BSI, warns that without action, 75% of the world's population could be facing drought by 2050.
Today, groundwater supplies half of all global drinking water and around 40% of the irrigation used to grow our food. And already, farmers are feeling the impact of over-extraction.
It's tough to think about what's been in my family for well over 100 years not being here in 20.
Satellite imagery shows that a third of the world's aquifers are at a tipping point and are being drained faster than they can be replenished. And with 2 billion people relying on groundwater as their primary source, this pending crisis will have a catastrophic impact. And it's not just happening in Africa or the Middle East either. In the US, the Ogallala Aquifer, which supports about 30% of the country's crop and animal production, is literally vanishing beneath the cornfields of the Midwest.
What we're doing now is not sustainable. We track every year the water levels are dropping. I've seen more places where the aquifer just physically cannot support that pumping demands anymore.
The systems we built to sustain us are becoming our downfall. But while we were busy drilling deeper and pumping faster, some places stuck with what always worked. Hidden in the foothills of Iran's Jupar Mountains, there is a green oasis that defies logic. It simply shouldn't exist. It's surrounded by dry desert on all sides. The closest freshwater lake is 200 miles away, and there are no pumps, pipes, or water tanks anywhere to be found here. And yet, for over 150 years, the Shazda Garden has thrived. 5 fountains, 9 waterfalls, and 5 hectares of lush gardens all flourish in one of the driest places on Earth. How does it do it? Well, the answer lies below the holes over there. This is a Knat, an ancient underground water system built long before electric pumps and even the Roman aqueducts. For over 3,000 years, Knats sustained empires in some of the harshest environments on the planet. They turned deserts into cities and formed oases in places that received less annual rainfall than California's Death Valley. At their peak, over 120,000 Knats were in use, enough tunnels to circle the Earth 40 times. So if this technology was so brilliant, so essential to survival, why have most of us never heard of it? The Knat is one of the most ingenious water systems ever created. Invented by the ancient Persians around 1000 BC, these gently sloping underground tunnels lead groundwater to the surface, using nothing but gravity. And while they might look simple, building one is anything but. It begins with finding water, but in the middle of a desert, that's easier said than done. So, builders look for signs, specifically alluvial fans, deposits of sediment where mountain streams once flowed. Here, ancient runoff settles, and is where aquifers, giant water-filled sediment sponges, are likely to form. Once one was found, the real work began. First came the mother well, a vertical shaft that could drop 1,000 feet, as tall as the Eiffel Tower. Then came the access shafts, dug every 65 to 165 feet, creating a chain of access points stretching to the water's end destination. From above, they look like giant ant mounds, but the real magic is happening underground. Using nothing but basic hand tools, teams of master builders carve a gently sloping tunnel that connects each shaft, just enough for water to flow naturally from the aquifer to the surface. Too steep, and the tunnel collapses from erosion. Too shallow, and the water won't flow. The perfect angle, just 0.5 to 2 degrees, required a level of precision that would challenge even modern engineering. And doing all this isn't easy or safe. Carving out just a single mile could take an army of craftsmen over a year, and some Knats stretched more than 30 miles long. But once complete, the results were extraordinary. Canats work in perfect harmony with nature, a delicate dance with gravity, drawing only as much water as the aquifer can sustainably recharge. No pumps, no power, and no evaporation. Some run year-round, others flow seasonally, and the largest systems could deliver over 3,000 gallons of water every minute, enough to supply the daily needs of an average American home every 5 seconds. At their peak, there were over 1 million miles of canats in 52 countries across the world's arid and semi-arid regions. In Iran alone, there are over 200,000 miles of canat tunnels, the same distance between the Earth and the Moon. And one of the best examples is here, in Yazd. Regarded as the oldest living city in the world, Yazd sits deep in the scorched Iranian desert, a place that gets less than 2.4 inches of rain a year, about as dry as the Sahara. And yet, for centuries, Yazd has thrived. As a key stop along the Silk Road, it connected traders from Asia, India, and the Middle East. But life here would never have been possible without the canat. At its peak, the city was sustained by a network of over 3,000 tunnels, a vast underground matrix stretching more than 27,000 miles. Even Marco Polo once marveled at this city's brilliance when he visited in 1272. In Iran today, more than 37,000 canats are still active, delivering over 7 billion cubic meters of sustainable water to farms each year.
یه محاسباتی هم ما یه وقت انجام دادیم که اگر این 7 میلیارد متر مکعب را در واقع می‌خواستیم از طریق پمپ، یعنی با استفاده از سوخت فسیلی یا انرژی الکتریکی می‌خواستیم استحصال بکنیم، به 800 مگاوات برق احتیاج بود. به عبارت دیگه یعنی به یه نیروگاه بسیار بزرگی احتیاج بود.
That's the equivalent of charging 8,000 Tesla cars or 160 million iPhones every hour. It's clear that these ingenious ancient systems can still offer something to our modern world. In Spain, engineers are introducing canat-inspired designs to cool public spaces through evaporative cooling, similar to how the Persians used their yakshals thousands of years ago. In an age of rising instability, our water systems today are only as strong as the lakes and aquifers that supply them. So maybe it's time we stop searching for the next big breakthrough and start paying attention to the one we buried.